What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to break down what's going on with the overall market and talk about some very important levels. I'm also going to break down why under the market moved the way it did and what the options chain is suggesting, as it's still showing the same thing I told you all yesterday. But before I do anything like this, before I talk about what's going on with the markets, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon and ends in just about 6 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the overall market and some very important levels. So what happened in my video from yesterday, I told you all that the market would likely see a pump today, then a dump very close to max pain, but the market would still close green. That was my prediction from yesterday for SPY, for Aapl, and all these different tickers. If you look at what happened today, we got this very nice pump when we opened up. I was talking about 447 being tested, and that's where we went to. Then we started cooling off as time went on. I warned everyone that max pain is at 445. If I was the market maker, I would close this very close to max pain, or maybe a little bit above it. I also broke down the options chain, some very important strikes based off the increase in the open interest. And 445 looked like a very, very key level. Also, we had high volume there, not to mention the very high levels that are changing. So we saw a lot of interest in that level. And as a result, that is very close to what's happening right now. So what happened, we got this nice pump on SPY, and now it's starting to slow down, starting to cool off as expected. And I believe that it's going to likely just continue to range trade around here. Now, could we touch like the very high 444s? Sure, but 444 is very critical support alongside 445.36. So watch those supports carefully. That's going to be key for SPY. For resistance, watch 446 followed by 446.5. It looks like we're just range trading, and we may continue to do this throughout the day. The market may still close a little in the green, but kind of flat overall for SPY. Tesla was doing the same thing as we predicted. I was talking about 255 being tested. We actually went up to 256.5, but then Tesla started to cool off. And instead of closing very flat, Tesla's actually kind of red, so a little bit weaker than expected. But that's because the market may be anticipating some bad news for Tesla. Someone likely knows something, and something is going to come out over the weekend, in my opinion. I'm not seeing the headlines just yet, but there must be something because Tesla had so much relative strength and now it's suddenly getting relative weakness. Something is going on with it. There's going to be some news coming out most likely. So be on the lookout and keep that on your radar over the weekend. Now, as a result, we're going to be watching 246.5, followed by 245 as critical support on Tesla. That's going to be key. For resistance, watch 247.5, 248, followed by this 250 area. Right now, I think it's going to kind of range trade around these areas just for the time being. I don't think it's going to just like flush all the way down unless something really bad is about to happen. But for now, I'm just seeing Tesla kind of like trying to base around here because we're getting very close to our 4-hour 200 EMA. We're like super close to it, and we can see Tesla likes to try to hold up around this level. So we're going to be watching this support carefully and see how it goes from there. On Aapl, we did something very similar to what I was predicting. I told you we should test at least 180, maybe go a little higher if we held 180 to push all the way up to like 181 to fill the gap. It hit 180.2 and rejected, and so far it's kind of like trading sideways. Aapl is still showing some strength, and I think next week on Monday it's going to push even more because we're going to be approaching Apple's big event. So I think Aapl has more upside coming, but after Apple's event, you never know what's going to happen. So I just want to make that as clear as possible. For now, I think Apple's going to just range trade and hold very close to these levels, showing some strength and looking quite good. Watch 178 as critical support. 180 is critical resistance. We're kind of stuck in between. And 179 is holding up quite nicely. For the QQQ, inverse head and shoulders, nice push up. I was predicting that the QQQ would hit 374 to 375, then reject, and still close quite green. You can see right here, very similar to SPY, we got this nice pump. Came down a little bit. We're still holding our 200 EMA, so we're going to be watching this 372 area just for safety reasons, and we're going to be watching to see if this thing could break above like the 20 EMA. So far, so good from it, looking quite nice, and overall, there's nothing too crazy going on. Looking at Nvda, unfortunately got some bad news involving the CEO selling lots of shares, and it didn't get a very, very positive reaction to that. It ended up coming down. So on Nvda, the thing is, when you zoom out, it still is looking like the MACD is trying to curl, so there's still some life on it. Also on the 200 EMA, it's trying to hold this. So you're going to be watching 448s to 451 around that zone. This is where Nvidia has bounced off of historically. So there's a chance Nvidia could try to bounce going into early next week. As long as it holds above the 200, it should try to make a rebound to fill this gap back to like the 470s. However, if this 200 EMA breaks and some bad news comes out and it breaks below 448, then Nvidia could sink a lot lower. As of right now, it's holding up, and I do believe it's going to try to like maintain this level for today and maybe get a bounce next week. That's what I'm seeing so far, so just watch it all very carefully. The VIX, it is technically down, but here's the thing about it. We have this gap that's still down here. It hasn't really filled it. So there's a chance that because of Aapl pumping next week, we might see the VIX drop even lower. We might see more downside for the VIX. As of right now, it got a small bounce off like 13.58, but still trading kind of sideways. We might see the VIX drop down early next week, though, looking at the gaps and etc. And it might be because of Aapl pumping the markets one more time before the big event happens. And I think that's what's on the table. The dollar also got this rejection off this 105 area, and now it's just trading very flat. So let me actually bring up the 30 minutes time frame and show you. It's just trading very flat and sideways around this 105 zone. Got a nice bounce off the 200 EMA, but it's still trading sideways. If it rejects a little bit, we could see the market try to push a little bit, but it's very, very flat. So I'm not seeing anything too crazy. So that's what I'm seeing for today. Lots of flat and sideways price action. Just to end the day, we only have like an hour and a half, that's like 2.5 hours actually left. So nothing too crazy. I just think the market's going to be kind of chill for the rest of the day, and we'll see more volatility going into next week thanks to Appl's big event. Apple's going to be a big one to watch for next week. And until that time comes, I just want everyone to do as well as possible. So please enjoy the weekend, guys. I just want to say a couple of last words about like maybe Amazon and Meta. Amazon's kind of flat right now. You can see it rejected. Came very close to 139. It's now just trading sideways. Watch our 5 EMA. 138.36. If that breaks, 137.83 is coming. These are the next levels to watch for. In my opinion, very flat, very boring, not really doing much. Same thing with Meta, testing 300 as resistance, just trading sideways. Not a whole lot is going on with it. As far as Coinbase goes, if you look at Coinbase, as we predicted, this thing would come down. Coinbase is now coming down from where it was yesterday. Came up in the pre-market, but it formed this like divergence before it came down. And you could see it's trying to test 80. I was talking about like potentially 78 coming in then a bounce, but it actually is trying to hold 80. Still kind of flat though, not really much is going on with it. So very flat. And with that said, guys, I will see you guys later on for the next video. I want the best for everyone. Do what you have to do and please enjoy your weekend. Also, don't forget that going into next week, we have like CPI and a couple of other things happening during the middle of the week. So we have some big data coming out during the middle of next week. For now, everything is kind of cool, so just enjoy what is left for the markets, and I'll most definitely see you guys in the next video. Thank you. The market to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright, and peace out.